Howdy diddly do, and welcome to another edition of the European Soccer Show. With me, as ever, is the undeniable, undistinguishable, and underappreciated Leo. Hello, Leo. How have you been?
Hi, Daniel. I'm great. And you? How have you been?
Well, I'm okay. You've been in Brittany this week, and I've been still in Britain, which I know which one I'd rather be. Speaking of Britain, let's give you some highlights from across the European continent, as well as the English Premier League, where the highlights include Arsenal moved 9 points clear at the top of the table, as Manchester City falter again against the relegation-threatened side twice in 2 weeks, in 2 matches. In La Liga, a competition between Real Madrid and Barcelona for the most fabulous and impressive victory. Barcelona as a team, Real Madrid as basically just Arda Güler's 67-yard goal. In Serie A, very interesting results, but in the end, they don't actually matter. For a second, we thought we were back into a title race, but AC Milan saw fit to lose at Lazio late yesterday. In the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich somehow drew 1-1 against Bayer Leverkusen, despite only having 9 men and no real goalkeeper. In Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain's fixture was postponed, which meant that Lens had the opportunity to go back to the top of the table, but they fumbled the ball, I believe is the NFL expression, as they lost at Lorient. Yes, lots to talk about. So we are, as ever, going to start in the Premier League. And interestingly, or rather uninterestingly, there are a lot of zeros in this week, weren't there? A lot of 0-0s, a lot of clean sheets, but actually some very interesting results. But we are going to start with Arsenal this week. We've been fighting off the last couple of weeks. Very interesting game at home against Everton. Everton playing fantastic, kept them 0-0 until the last minute of regulation time, where Jordan Pickford came out for a cross, didn't quite reach it, and the ball fell to Gyökeres, who slotted home to give them the lead. However, everybody is talking about the second goal scorer, Max Dowman, who brilliantly ran best part of 70 meters with the ball and scored into an empty net in the 7th minute of stoppage time to become the youngest ever Premier League goal scorer. This was an incredibly tense match, wasn't it? If you sort of heard the atmosphere at the Emirates, a lot of the fans biting nails, getting restless. The tension in the atmosphere in the stadium palpable, and yet they managed to find a way, which is something that Manchester City are failing to do. Perhaps this is the reason Arsenal will be champions.
Yeah, I remember back in December when they won away at Everton. We already told that it was a tense game, a hard-fought victory, and it's quite the same 3 months later with the same goal scorer, because Victor Gyökeres was the one to score at Everton 3 months ago to seal the victory for Arsenal. And I think it's that kind of harsh victory against, as you said, a good Everton team, very good Everton team, that will enable Arsenal to finally win the title.
Max Dowman, again, youngest Premier League goal scorer ever, second youngest top flight goal scorer, I believe, ever. Yeah, it's kind of astonishing because it's not as if he was just given a goal or, sort of a cheap goal at the end of a game. He came on and actually changed the game. It was highlighted when Mikel Arteta made the substitution. He brought him on for Zubimendi, and players like Gabriel Jesus were left on the bench. And yet he turned to this 16-year-old Dowman, and he delivered. His was the cross that pulled Pickford off his line that led to the first goal. And, of course, he finished the second goal. What an astonishing young man. Not to sound 100 years old.
I think he's one of the incarnation of this new generation of players, of young players who are not shy on the pitch, who wants to demonstrate everything that they can do. I remember back in, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when Ryan Cherky was thrown in the big deep against Nantes in the Coupe de France. he was 16 and also astonishing. We can also talk. I saw on Twitter some footage video of Manchester United's JJ Gabriel, who is likely to I trained with the first team and maybe have his first appearance. It's this kind of players. Even we can talk, of course, about Lamine Yamal, who is still very young. They want to prove themselves to the others, and I really like that kind of play.
But Arsenal do manage to fight for the victory and secure that. And only a couple of hours later, Manchester City dropped points at West Ham United. 1-1. Bernardo Silva opened the goal with a gorgeous little chip from a tight angle, catching the keeper out. Whether he meant it or not is up for debate, but he certainly claims to. But West Ham United responded immediately with Mavropanos' bullet header from a corner. Are we going to be ultra critical of Manchester City because throwing away a lead twice at home against Nottingham Forest seemed like poor game management? This felt a bit different, didn't it? Because, I mean, they had Manchester City had 24 shots, 6 of which were on target. West Ham had 1 shot, 1 on target, 1 goal. This felt a bit more sort of just unfortunate from Manchester City, or perhaps just not clinical enough.
I don't know if you heard Pep Guardiola's presser after the game. He recognized having made a mistake by not starting with Cherki. So I think he knew that against a low block, as West Ham showed, he needed a player capable of playing in the tight spaces. And here is his mistake, and he recognized it. So, of course, it was there was a lack of precision, a lack of I don't know. They didn't put the knife as deep as they should have been in the West Ham's defense. But finally, in a title race, when you are trailing on Arsenal, you can't allow yourselves to make some mistakes. So I think the title is now done.
It's a bad week generally, though, isn't it? So 2-2 at home against Nottingham Forest, again, just above the relegation zone. Then losing at Real Madrid 3-0 in the Champions League. And then drawing at West Ham United, who are in the relegation zone. And now they're obviously about to face Real Madrid again. Now, I was going to say, it's not as if this is the make or break part of the season for them, because, you know, if they go out of the Champions League, they are still fighting for the title, although it seems far away. But they are in the League Cup final. They are in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. So it's not as if they are underperforming this season. They've had a huge number of matches. They're in every competition. It's just that they seem to have lacked something that they've had in past seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when you compare to last season, their season is already good compared to the last one. We have to remember that they played in the Club World Cup last summer, something that Arsenal didn't, which can count now. And they also had new recruits, so it's kind of a season of maybe transition for Manchester City, and being second right now, even if they have the chance to actually win the title, it's quite positive, I think.
Just bringing some other results. So Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0. That's done. Sunderland 0, Brighton 1. Weird game. The winning goal by Minte was a very strange sort of deflected cross. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. Did you see the bizarre build-up to this game?
Yeah, but it's like Chelsea have been struggling these past weeks.
Before we actually talk about the football, did you see like the huddle and the referee at the start?
Oh yeah, with the players around the referee.
For those of you who've not seen this, I would genuinely recommend trying to find the footage of this, because Chelsea in recent weeks have been sort of doing this huddle around the centre spot and the ball. And it annoys some other teams. It depends, obviously, if Chelsea have taken the kickoff or not. And yet this time round, the referee Paul Tierney went to the centre spot and stood over the ball just to sort of protect it. And the Chelsea players still made a huddle around him. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, sort of vibes of Donald Trump staying with Chelsea for the Club World Cup celebrations. But Newcastle United did win. It was their first victory at Stamford Bridge for 14 years, I believe. And Newcastle United are they're currently ninth on 42 points and 6 points behind Chelsea in sixth place. So chances are, obviously, Champions League push not likely. But Newcastle United have a real shot at reaching some European competition. They have among the easiest runnings. And of course, next week, the Tyne-Wear derby against Sunderland at St James's Park. So Newcastle United, despite having a very difficult season, have an opportunity to qualify for Europe.
Yeah, they have, especially since they will maybe be out of the Champions League after Wednesday night at Camp Nou, which could count if they were knocking out with one game per week. It would be an advantage. And I think if all the remaining games, every remaining games of Newcastle were away from home, they could qualify for the Champions League because they have performed well away from St James Park in recent games. So yeah, it's a real possibility for them to at least to qualify in the Conference League.
Yeah, chance to pull something out this season. On Sunday, Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. Strange match. Dominic Calvert-Lewin missed a penalty, and then Leeds United had a man sent off at the end of the first half. And despite that, Crystal Palace didn't have a single shot on target in the second half. Leeds managing to squeak a draw. Manchester United really impressive in their 3-1 victory against Aston Villa. Goals from Casemiro, Mateus Cunha and Šeško. Nottingham Forest 0, Fulham 0. Forest having a missed opportunity to pull away from the relegation zone. Liverpool 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. So Igor Tudor's first point, his first not
finally
loss.
Yeah,
I think that's Spurs' first not defeat in 6 matches. I will say this though. It was an awful match. Watching it, I couldn't believe. I mean, from a Liverpool point of view, considering how much money they spent, they were so sloppy, constantly misplacing passes. Even right at the end, Spurs had just equalised, going into stoppage time, and Liverpool had a 4-on-2 breakaway. And both the passes involved were massively misdirected or over here. It was, I'm not sure if you watched it, but a disappointing result for Liverpool. It feels like Liverpool were poor as opposed to Spurs being good. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they were poor, and it's really a missed opportunity to move closer to the top 3, because in case they would have won this game, they would have moved into 4th place, opened up a 3-point lead over Chelsea. So it would have been a great coup, but in the end, conceding so many goals at the end of games, it could cost them a lot at the end of the season, because it's not the first time that they concede a goal in the dying minutes this season.
And they're trailing Galatasaray in the Champions League,
Yeah,
which would be not quite an embarrassing exit, but certainly an unexpected one if they don't turn that around. So actually in the table, Arsenal, like I said before, 9 points clear of Man City. Manchester United now 3rd, 7 points behind Man City and 3 ahead of Aston Villa, who've just suffered their 3rd straight loss. Liverpool are currently occupying 5th on 49, 1 point ahead of Chelsea, who've only got 1 win in the last 5 matches. But right behind Chelsea, in the last thing we'll talk about before moving on from the Premier League, Brentford face Wolverhampton Wanderers tonight. Brentford, if they win that, will be 1 point behind Chelsea. Are Brentford in this race for the Champions League?
That's a cool question. For the Champions League, I don't think so, to be honest. But for European football, for sure, because
I'll make it another way. If they win, they'll be 4 points clear of 8th place Everton.
Yeah.
So Yeah, but it's hard to make the case against it, right? Because they've been one of the few consistent teams. And if they are only 1 point behind Chelsea or 2 points behind Liverpool, at least on paper, there's a chance.
Yeah, there is a chance, of course, but we have to deal with the fact that Chelsea are likely to be knocked out of the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain, which obviously will help them to save some resources for the end of the season. Liverpool could also be knocked out, so it will be difficult for Brentford to tie with Liverpool and Chelsea, especially since Wolves have won their last 2 games in the Premier League against
the informed side.
Yeah.
So
maybe a surprise tonight.
We should probably say as well that the 4 teams fighting off that last relegation spot, they all drew. So it's as you were from last week. All Leeds, Spurs, Forest, and West Ham all separated by just 3 points. Very excited. Right, we should go off to Serie A and some fantastic Italian football there. On Friday night, Torino, precious victory over Parma, 4-1 at home, which means that Torino are probably safe now. But we should also say that on Saturday, a couple of interesting ones. Inter dropped points at home to Atalanta, 1-1 there, which meant that after they lost to AC Milan previous week, that's 1 point in 2 games. If AC Milan had won this next match, the gap would have been down to just 5 points. But no, AC Milan went to Lazio and lost 1-0. It does feel like in the last sort of month, every time there's been a sniff of a return to a title fight, AC Milan kind of fluff it.
Yeah, and fortunately for Inter, because as you mentioned, it's been 2 weeks in a row that they dropped points. They could have only be up to 5 points with AC Milan, but and now even if it's only 9 games to go before the end of the season, they must be careful not to suffer the same disappointment than last season. Even if, of course, the context is different because they were engaged in Coppa Italia and the Champions League, so they had to play on 3 different competitions. But last season they were top of Serie A until the 33rd match day before being overtaken by Napoli. So they really need to be careful, and it's obviously a missed opportunity for AC Milan to close the gap with them.
It does feel like Inter haven't really had any pressure put on them for a good couple of months, and this was an opportunity. And AC Milan don't really have an excuse, do they? They don't have Europe. They don't have these other distractions, and yet continually they sort of not undermine themselves, but like they very rarely seem to put a consistent run of form together to sort of really put pressure on Inter. They always seem to be sort of hit and miss, a bit like Juventus in that respect.
Yeah, I agree. And in my opinion, they absolutely need to win the Serie A title because of the way they were knocked out of the Champions League by Bodo Glimt, which was obviously a big surprise. I don't think the fans, even with the Coppa Italia semi-final, if they get eliminated by Como and don't win the Serie A title, this would be a huge disappointment for all the fans.
Yeah, well, we should point out they're still massive favourites, aren't they? 8
yeah,
points
of course.
Clear. Time around. But elsewhere on Saturday, Napoli came from a goal behind to defeat Lecce 2-1 with goals from Rasmus Højlund and Politano, which means Napoli are now only 1 point behind AC Milan. So actually a potential fight for second place. But the real interesting thing, much like we spoke about last week or the week before, the juicy fight beneath them. 4th place, Como. They were at home to Roma, the rivals for that Champions League spot, and Como won 2-1. Came from behind to do that. Sorry, Donyell Marlin opened the scoring for Roma from the penalty spot. before Como responded in the second half. Roma had a man sent off. Wesley got a second yellow card before Como scored through Diego Carlos. So Como, once again, coming up against, let's say, a peer or a team that we regard as equal, well, on the pitch at least. But unlike other big teams like Juve and AC Milan, who seem to be dropping the ball, Como seem to be really sticking into it. They're showing tremendous fortitude and mentality.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at the match, it's really deserved victory for Como. They continue to impress this season. They have beaten a lot of major opponents so far, tied with Inter Milan in the Coppa Italia. They could win a title actually this season, which is obviously quite not. I wouldn't say unexpected given their financial resources and everything, but it would be a great coup for the project. They are now only three. They are now 3 points up to Roma in the Champions League spot race, which is obviously a great advantage for them. So yeah, they are likely to qualify because they are fourth if we just talk about results and points. So it's a great coup for them.
Yeah, they stay 1 point ahead of Juventus, who won at Udinese 1-0. Comment here from Foxy Iro. Good name. Eduardo Motta, very impressive young keeper for Lazio. Yeah, I think we've mentioned him before, haven't we? There's not much to cheer for Lazio and Lazio fans this season, although in the last sort of 5-6 weeks, they have begun a bit of rejuvenation, a bit more pride, and they are climbing the table, although the gap to Atalanta is probably a bit too much at this stage to challenge for a European place. But Lazio are still in the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, I think. They drew with Atalanta, didn't they, 2-2? So Lazio still have an opportunity to win something this season. So like reasons to be cheerful after an incredibly intense, worrying big start of the year.
Yeah, and they could win something that Roma couldn't, because it would be like, the rivalry thing. Yeah, they could actually win a title. They have been, they had mixed results this season, and it's
under difficult circumstances. We should always remind people, like the transfer embargo at the start of the year was obviously hamstrung them somewhat.
Yeah, but finally, even if they are ninth in the table, they have actually something to play for in this end of the season. So it's quite.
And actually, if they manage to win the trophy and Roma not qualify for the Champions League, I'm sure that would be an overall victory for Lazio. Roma, another disappointing result. That's 2 losses on the bounce, no win in 3. They're losing form at the wrong time. They're now 2 points behind Juve, 3 points behind Como. They need to turn this around probably in the next match or two before they fall too far behind.
Yeah, they continue to slip further away, especially away from home, where they haven't won a single game in 4 games now. So yeah, I remember in the early season they used to win these games by by only a goal, and it was sufficient for them to win. And we said that they desperately need to recruit a forward, given the fact that they were playing without a real number 9. But today they just concede too much goal for a team like that, and yeah, they are now 6 in bad position for the Champions League, even if they only have 3 points away from Como.
So to round up Serie A, so Genoa got a 2-0 victory at Hellas Verona, which means Genoa and Torino currently in 14th and 13th place, are on 33 points, 9 points clear of relegation, which means both those teams are probably safe now. So big victories for Genoa and Torino. Elsewhere, Bologna won at Sassuolo 1-0. But perhaps the strangest result, not just of the weekend, but of the season, Pisa 3, Cagliari 1. So not only Pisa actually registering a victory, but they had a man sent off after 37 minutes, and yet still somehow managed to score another 2 goals after that. So Pisa, does the comeback start now? Probably not. They're 7 points behind Fiorentina, much like Hellas Verona. But hey, stranger things have happened. We should move on, and we'll go to the Bundesliga. We're actually going to start, mention a result on Friday where Borussia Mönchengladbach, who started the day 1 point ahead of St. Pauli, they defeated St. Pauli at home 2-0, which means that Mönchengladbach are now 4 points clear of that dreaded relegation playoff. So big result for Mönchengladbach, their first win in a while. But on Saturday, Bayer Leverkusen won, Bayern Munich won. So this is a fascinating sort of microcosm of both of these team seasons, where Bayern, for those of you who didn't see the game, Bayer Leverkusen opened the goal scoring through Alex Garcia early in the game. Then Nicholas Jackson got a straight red card for Bayern Munich at the end of the first half. Then in the second half, Luis Diaz scored an equaliser with about 20 minutes left. And then Luis Diaz, with about 5 minutes left, got a second yellow card for diving, trying to win a penalty there. So Bayern finished with 9 men. But talk about microcosms, the determination and mindset of Bayern to still try and win the match, despite not only having man down, but 2 men down, but Bayer being completely incapable of taking advantage of that for being in a dominant position. So yeah, it does sing true for both teams, doesn't it?
Yeah, as you recall, it was rather chaotic for between Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, and also I don't think you've mentioned the 3 goals disallowed in this game. One for Bayer and 2 for Bayern. So it was really chaotic. Just a word on Luis Diaz, because Liverpool have decided to part ways with him last summer, and now he has scored 21 goals and provided a 17th assist so far this season, which is really good.
We should always put it out that this is Bayern, though, so they rate.
Yeah, of course.
Goals against Atalanta, they are so overpowered. They're going to be stats like that. But even still, it seems at the time Luis Diaz's moves was described as a bit expensive for Bayern, but actually now it's seeming well spent.
But and I don't know if you saw the goalkeeper issue for Bayern Munich.
They were down to their 4th goalkeeper, was it?
Yeah, and now a 16-year-old goalkeeper is likely to play in the Champions League because Manuel Neuer is injured, Sven Ulreich too, and 2 of the young goalkeepers too. So it seems to be a strange one for this young goalkeeper.
Well,
it reminds me of Iker Casillas at the time at Real Madrid.
That's a fun comparison.
Yeah.
Comparison. Fortunate that they basically ended the tie against Atalanta because there's less pressure on their goalkeeper coming in. Don't want another Kinski moment. Yes, but also, I mean, maybe it's best that, say, for example, Bayer Leverkusen, who drew with Arsenal, so perhaps that was really what took it out of them. Bayer Leverkusen showing that they probably can't continue on 2 fronts. They probably can't continue to stay because they are currently 5 points behind. Elsewhere, the last match of the weekend, Stuttgart defeated RB Leipzig 1-0, which meant that Stuttgart actually jumped RB Leipzig into 4th place. So Bayer are 5 points behind Stuttgart. So it's probably in Bayer's interest to really concentrate on getting back into the Champions League as opposed to trying to stay in it.
Yeah, I agree. Even if it's a valuable point for Leverkusen, but as you said, Stuttgart's victory brings them a double benefit because first they consolidated their 4th place in the table, and they are now drawing level with Hoffenheim in the race for the 3rd, because Hoffenheim have drawn with 17th placed Wolfsburg this weekend. So,
well, since you mentioned it,
that's
I was going to
interesting.
bring that up. So Hoffenheim won, Wolfsburg won. An excellent result for Wolfsburg, and
Yeah.
with that means they're 3 points behind St. Pauli, so they are within striking distance now, in the relegation playoff position. But Hoffenheim, so in their last 6 matches, they've won twice, drawn twice, and lost twice. The very, definition of inconsistency. But they are still third. They're on 50 points. So their inconsistency hasn't been capitalized on by Stuttgart or Leipzig or Bayer, who just seem to keep dropping points.
Yeah, and because we are close to the end of the season, and every game counts for the teams. Hoffenheim are out of the DFB Cup. They don't play European football. Stuttgart are still qualified in the Europa League. They will play Porto in the second leg of the round of 16. They are also playing in the German Cup, so it can count also, as we said, for the in the Premier League. So it will be interesting. And looking at the next fixtures of Hoffenheim, they will play Mainz, they will play Bremen, and they will play Stuttgart before the end of the season. It could be an important game for the top 3.
Elsewhere, Borussia Dortmund, an easy victory, 2-0 over Augsburg, means that they close the gap to Bayern to just 9 points. Also, Frankfurt defeated bottom of the table Heidenheim 1-0. Hamburger drew 1-1 with Köln. Köln, who are only 1 point above the relegation playoff themselves. Huge result, though. On Sunday, Werder Bremen 0, Mainz 2. So Mainz started just, again, level points with St. Pauli. Hold on, sorry, Foxy. Foxy. Bayern having a goalkeeper crisis. Leonard Prescott set to be the youngest in Champions League. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And as we were saying, it's for those of you who aren't aware of the Kimski situation. Atletico Madrid, when they defeated Tottenham Hotspur, was it 5-2?
Yeah.
Tottenham started with Kimski in goal, which was a huge decision by Igor Tudor. And in the first 17 minutes, he slipped over whilst passing out, which allowed Atletico to score a goal. And he also completely fluffed a pass, which meant that Julian Alvarez got an open goal to score for 3-0. And so he was subbed off after 17 minutes. Now, the great thing is that the entire football community has basically got behind Kimski, because the decision to sub him was potentially understandable, because Igor Tudor spoke about wanting to protect him, but also he didn't acknowledge him or comfort him or anything like that. Now, of course, anybody who knows Igor Tudor knows that's not his style, but also having a young goalkeeper thrown into that situation, having not played first team football for the best part of 2 years. It seemed unfair.
Difficult situation.
Both to start him, and it seemed unfair to take him off and sort of throw him into the fire. But what the reason to bring it up is, of course, the young Bayern keeper, Leonard Prescott, it looks like, I think he said. He doesn't have that pressure because Bayern has such a big gap, and that allows him to play with a bit more freedom and a bit sort of, less intensity and less worried. Wouldn't you think so?
Yeah, I agree. And seeing Atalanta score 5 or even 6 away at Allianz Arena seems quite unrealistic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I was about to say Mainz defeated Werder Bremen 2-0 at Bremen. So they started the day level on points, and Mainz now pulled 3 points clear of St. Pauli. Actually, no, sorry, Mainz were behind Bremen, so they've leapfrogged them. The battle at the bottom of the table in the Bundesliga is so fascinating. The only other result to tell you about, Freiburg 0, Union Berlin 1, a goal late in stoppage time, giving them the victory there. Right, we should park the Bundesliga and go over to La Liga. So I mentioned we're going to start, as ever, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Which match did you enjoy the most?
The Barcelona one.
Okay, so for those who haven't seen it, Barcelona 5, Sevilla 2. A hat-trick for Raphinha, 2 of which were from the penalty spot. Goals for Dani Olmo and João Cancelo, who, I'll be honest, I completely forgot to play for them. But it was an impressive result, wasn't it? Because in the last couple of weeks, they sort of looked like they just needed to do what they needed to do. Like one doing just enough, but this seemed a bit more sort of, a bit more back to their fancy best.
Yeah, and the fact that there is 2 points to retain for this from this win. The first is that the 3 points even. The first is that they keep their 4 points advantage over Real Madrid. The second is that they can actually end the season with 100 points in La Liga.
They're on 70, 10 matches left.
And the other, it is concerning Sevilla, because I think they must keep an eye on their rivals in the relegation battle, because their lead isn't secure yet, even though their form is one of the most impressive alongside the ones of Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah, Sevilla 5 points clear of trouble as it stands. Well, if Barcelona were the most impressive performance, perhaps the most impressive goal, inevitably, is at Real Madrid. They defeated Elche 4-1. Couple of astonishing goals. The second goal for Valverde, his fourth in a week. After that, was a brilliant hat-trick against Manchester City. Wonderful team goal where I think everyone but one member of the squad touched the ball. But the fourth goal, Arda Güler, I wrote this down, 68 yards or 74 meters. I mean, it's not audacity. It's just pure technique, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a technical gesture, and it's very difficult. And that's why it's so rare to see that kind of goals in professional football, at the top of professional football. Just to have a word on this game, we have said that in past week that Real Madrid had struggled to find the way they want to play. They struggled to win these games, especially since Kylian Mbappe. And this weekend it was, to be honest, a comfortable win. You've mentioned Federico Valverde's goal. He once again proved decisive. He has now 9 goal contributions in his last 8 games. Maybe the best player of Real Madrid at the moment. And to finish like we did with Sevilla, Elche, they are now in the relegation zone after the start of the season.
So on that note, the next thing I was going to say, Mallorca on Sunday defeated Espanyol 2-1. Espanyol took the lead, but had a man sent off with about 40 minutes remaining, allowing Mallorca to come from behind and secure the victory, which means that they leapfrog both Elche and Alaves up the table. So yes, Elche do slide down into the relegation zone. It's something that I have noticed, which is a bit of a shame, let's call it a Premier Leagueism, where the promoted sides look like they're going down all of a sudden. So, for example, in Serie A, Cremonese and Pisa were both promoted at the end of last season, and Cremonese are now in there as well as Pisa. Although Sassuolo are doing absolutely fine. Yeah. Similarly with La Liga, so Real Oviedo, Elche, two newly promoted clubs. For the life of me, I can't remember who the third one was.
Espanyol?
Was it? I don't think it was. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point being that 2 of the 3 promotion sides look like they'll be going down in La Liga. And yes, thank you for checking. I can hear you checking. Yes,
yeah, I am.
It's going to really annoy me. Silence as our
Levante.
Oh, was it Levante?
Of course. Yeah. Sorry. Espanyol was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right. So yes. So all 3 of the bottom 3 in La Liga are the promoted sides. So we don't. It's not just obviously the Premier League is you get that kind of stagnation where the same promoted teams go down. We don't want that anywhere else either. But it does feel like these three sides just haven't been good enough this season. Apart from Elche, but their second half slump of the season has been really disheartening because it just feels like everybody worked out how to play against them and there's been no solution.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, we've said that Elche's way of playing was really interesting, but the fact is that playing that way for the whole season, it's complicated for a promoted team when you face the big names of your league. Sometimes you need to understand how to close the game and everything, but they had their ideas. They wanted to play that way, and they did it. So I like this kind of teams, but it proves difficult for them to stay up, even if they can, because they are only 2 points away from Mallorca and Alaves.
Yeah, speaking of Alaves, they drew 1-1 at home against Villarreal. So close to having another precious 2 points to pull them clear of relegation. Villarreal, by the way, Pepe scored an equaliser in the 8th minute of stoppage time, so very close to a famous victory there. Girona defeated Athletic Club 3-0. Atletico Madrid defeated Getafe 1-0. Probably like a nice, easy game for them after Getafe had a man sent off in the second half. And obviously their second leg against Spurs is coming up. A rare win for Real Oviedo, who defeated Valencia 1-0, but probably a bit late for Oviedo as they are still 7 points behind safety. Elsewhere, Real Betis 1, Celta Vigo 1, Real Sociedad 3, Osasuna 1. I forgot to mention, of course, that after Mallorca's victory over Espanyol, that meant that for the first time since the third week of the season, I believe, Espanyol are no longer in the European positions.
Yeah.
Well, unless, of course, they get the 5th Champions League spot, and then it goes down, and depending what happens with the Copa del Rey. But yeah, Espanyol, who've only had one victory this calendar year.
It's been difficult for them.
Yeah. After such a brilliant start. Anyway, last but not least, we are popping off to Ligue 1. Very much on the cards as Marseille defeated Auxerre 0. 1-0 to Marseille for their third victory on the trot. But the first game we're going to quickly speak about, Lorient 2, Lens 1. So Lens had the opportunity to leapfrog Paris Saint-Germain, who had their game against Nantes postponed this weekend. But much like their other recent defeat, Lens dominated the game, had plenty of chances, but facing, to be fair, Lorient are having a good season. Who were clinical with their opportunities. Lens just came undone. So it was another, rather than playing badly or dropping the ball, it was more like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's completely a missed opportunity. They could have put the pressure on the Paris Saint-Germain. We will play their games against Nantes in mid-April, I think, or by the end of April. But the thing is that Lorient, who are a promoted team, we've talked about promoted teams in the past minutes. They have been great this season. They have, especially at home, because they have picked up 26 of 37 points there. Lens, they had chances, clearly, but now if PSG are to win against Nantes, which I don't think they will fail to, it will be difficult for the title. So
yeah, it's now like Paris Saint-Germain do seem to have an easy run in, and also we're getting to the points of like, well, almost thinking up reasons why Paris Saint-Germain would drop points against certain teams, as opposed to that's a tricky one. It does all kind of come down to Lens against Paris Saint-Germain. Lens have to win that now.
Yeah, of course.
Elsewhere, Angers lost at home. Hey, Nice won a game, 2-0 at Angers. That's nice for them. But Monaco defeated Brest, a pair for Monaco, ironically. 2-0 against Brest, which means Monaco are now, well, they remain 6 points behind Marseille, as do Rennes. Lille, though, spoiler, we're going to jump ahead. Lille defeated Rennes at Rennes with a very impressive victory. So you still have 5 teams separated by just 6 points. So Monaco's, that's 5 wins in a row. They're undefeated in 8, I believe. They've built ahead of steam. They really are the team to watch all of a sudden. And hey, outplaying Paris Saint-Germain, arguably 4 times this season. There's something about this side which is kind of astonishing considering how the season started.
Yeah, they have really hit their stride now. They haven't lost in the league since the 16th of January, so 2 months ago, day by day, 2 months ago, and they don't have any other competition to juggle alongside because they were obviously eliminated from the Championship by Paris Saint-Germain, and I do think they will overtake Lyon or Marseille to climb the top 4 or even the top 3.
What's been the change? Because again, we were speaking about Monaco. I'd say in mid-January they were still not quite with it, and yet in the last sort of 8 weeks, there's been this monumental shift. Has anything changed in particular?
The coach, I think Sebastian.
Of course, yeah.
I really think Sebastian Pocognoli has been doing tremendous job at Monaco. He needed some time to implement his way of playing, but now the players seem to have understand what he asks, and it's paying off. All simply.
Elsewhere, Strasbourg 0, Paris FC 0. Strasbourg, understandably, are probably putting their focus on. Is it the Europa League they're in?
The conference.
Conference. Yeah. Focus on the conference as well as the French Cup as well. So they're in 2 other competitions that they have legitimate opportunity to win. So makes sense. Elsewhere. Le Havre 0, Lyon 0. Lyon once again failing to win. That's 1 victory in 4 for that's no wins in 4.
No wins in 4,
yeah, and they slipped to 4th place. That's 2 disappointing draws for Lyon on the bounce. Despite the fact Le Havre had the wonderfully named Zagadou sent off in the second half with about 30-40 minutes left. What's happened in the last few weeks at Lyon? Because they suddenly become toothless.
Yeah, they are, because they are toothless. They don't have any forwards left. Even against Celta Vigo in the Europa League, Rémi Imbert, after 20 seconds, was forced to be substituted because of an ankle injury. So it's now 5 or 6 offensive player off the squad for Lyon. Hopefully they will finally get Pavel Sulc and Afonso Moreira, Malik Fofana back in the coming days and coming weeks. So it's important for them.
So I've just seen that Foxy's messaged us again. Lamine Camara, the big difference for Monaco. It had injury issues at the start of the season, and of course AFCON, Monaco win rate just 22% without him. Big move for him in the summer. That's a fair point, actually. Lamine Camara has had a lot of chatter about him.
Yeah. He's been one of the best midfielders in Ligue 1 this season. His performance against the big clubs have been extraordinary. The latest against Paris Saint-Germain in the league 1 or 2 weeks, last week, sorry. He is a great player, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a club like, I don't know, Tottenham or something like that, if they, of course, manage to stay up, to bid an offer on him.
Last results to bring you from Ligue 1. Insane match as Metz hosted Toulouse, and Toulouse won 4-3. My God, Toulouse had a 2-goal lead before Metz fought back to 2-2. Toulouse had the lead again. Metz equalised, and then Toulouse found yet another goal, the winner this time in the 9th minute of stoppage time. Oh my God, what a match that was. But the last one to reference, as I said before, Rennes 1, Lille 2. At the time, Lille were 2 points behind Rennes. So winning at Rennes, an incredibly impressive result considering Rennes' good run of form. That's now 3 wins from 4 for Lille, and they're undefeated in 7. Another team that's making a late surge for Champions League football.
Yeah, Rennes really had the chance to close the gap. To 3 points behind third place. It was the anniversary of the club yesterday, 125 years. So it was a party that didn't end well for Rennes. I don't know if Lille have what it takes to qualify for the Champions League. To be honest, I'm not.
They're still in Europe, aren't they, Lille?
Yeah, they will play Aston Villa in
yes.
Europa League. They lost 1-0 in the first leg.
And that's an interesting point, actually. Sorry to jump in, but of course, so Paris Saint-Germain on 57, Lens on 56. Paris Saint-Germain have a game in hand. Marseille third, 49, and that's the last guaranteed Champions League spot. So Marseille 49, Lyon 47, Lille 44, Monaco 43, Rennes 43. The fact that Lyon and Lille have European football could actually significantly hinder them, because Lyon finished top of the Europa League league phase, didn't they? So they have an opportunity to win something, but actually might negatively affect the big picture, the league season.
Yeah, I agree, and it will be a tense race between Marseille, Lyon, Lille, Monaco, and Rennes till the end of the season. Marseille, I think they are the best placed team to grab a Champions League spot, because if they were tied with Monaco, I would say Monaco would overtake them, but they have 6 points more than Monaco. The fourth place will be the big thing to look at.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of the roundup. Anything we may have missed? The 3 things we may have missed. What do you have for me this week?
You may have missed that Barcelona's president, Joan Laporta, has been re-elected.
64% of the vote, I believe.
68.2. Yeah. He defeated Victor Font to be re-elected this weekend. So this is a big news, because it's quite unusual to see elections to name a president apart from Spain. So it was a big weekend for Barcelona.
Yeah, and well, I'd say the highly controversial lever pulling. Obviously, it's going to take a long time to see what kind of effect that has on the finances in the long term life of Barcelona. But obviously, in the short term, it seems to have had a positive effect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got one for you. On Friday, Wrexham defeated Swansea City 2-0, which means that Wrexham, I believe, if they have 7 more points this season, they will officially be the best team in Wales, which has not happened for about 40 odd years, I believe. So the first, I believe the next check for Wrexham's sort of big picture stuff is about to be signed off, trying to be the best team in Wales, and they're on the cusp of achieving it after defeating Welsh rivals Swansea. Yeah,
that's an interesting one too. I got a last thing you may have missed. It's another unusual thing. Do you remember Carney Chukwuemeka, former Aston Villa Chelsea player, who is now in Dortmund? He has received his first call-up with Austria after switching allegiance
Okay.
from England. And it's quite unusual for a European player to change nationality to that of another European country. It's always happened for a European player to go to an African one, to go to an Oceanian one, Asiatic one, but it's rare from European to European.
Well, it must be one of the blessings of dual nationality, I guess.
Yeah.
I know. I thought I could have sworn he had 3. Obviously there's certain players who qualify for 3 or 4 nations. That must be quite a tricky one to put your allegiance towards. Things you may have missed in women's football in England. It was the League Cup final. Where Chelsea defeated Manchester United 2-0, which also means that is the 4th trophy won under Sonia Bombastor as her stewardship. But yeah, because of course Chelsea had a domestic treble last year and an undefeated domestic season, which is astonishing. So despite their lesser season this year in the WSL, they have won the first bit of silverware. So 4 trophies out of 4 for Bombastor. Pretty good, one would say. Anything else from you?
I don't. I will let you finish with the trivia.
I've got one more thing you may have missed.
Oh,
it's a laugh. Down in League 2, I believe, the 4th tier of English professional football, a Notts County player was shown a red card for throwing away an opponent's boot. So his boot came off and he got rid of it. So
that's a weird way.
Very unsporting, but also quite funny.
And we have look at that. We have a thing we may have missed from Foxy from the smaller European. From the smaller European leagues. Porto's Polish youngster Oskar Pituszewski scored and looked impressive. Only 17. They produced too many gems. I saw that goal against Benfica, if I'm not mistaken.
Ironically, Benfica are the ultimate youth academy production system. Clearly, they've allowed one to get away. Yeah, that's a good shout. Also, generally speaking, if anybody's watching this, if they want to send us anything we may have missed, either in the comments or live or comments after, please do. Like, I love this kind of stuff. We've been talking about the Polish league, where every single team, all 18 teams in the league, can still win the title and also get relegated. It's fantastic. Okay, but we are going to leave with the trivial trivia, and this one's a nice sort of easier concept. You may not get the answer, but it's an easier concept. Okay, so we are going to go to the Premier League, as often mine are. Apologies. Which team has scored the most goals from substitutes?
I would say Manchester United. Maybe.
Another couple of opportunities.
Tottenham.
The fact that they'd be top of any list is clear.
Sorry for that. I don't have any clue.
Arsenal. Foxy's playing along. Well done, Foxy. Foxy got it just before I said it. Bravo, Foxy. Yes, the answer is Arsenal. 11 of their substitutes have scored a goal. This is not including assists either. 11 goals scored from substitutes. So Mikel Arteta positively affecting matches through his tactical changes. So 11 goals from them. That's top. I believe second is Bournemouth with 7. Might be wrong about that. Do you want to have a guess how many Manchester City have scored?
You've said Arsenal were with 11 goals? Top
11.
Yeah. And Manchester City, where are they placed?
I'm not saying.
I'll
give you a clue. It's very near the bottom.
Okay. Only 4 or 5? Maybe. One. So that's kind of an astonishing thing. So talking about the battle between Arsenal and Manchester City, the battle between Arteta and Guardiola. Arteta this season has positively affected results
11 of his substitutions scoring goals, whereas Guardiola's only one of his substitutions has ended up scoring. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't positively affect, play and possession and other things. But yeah, a stark contrast to there. City don't score in the second half, so very low. I mean, you make a very good point, Foxy, that don't score in the second half, but that also might contribute towards it. The fact that the changes aren't positive or won't give goals. But anyway, we need to end there just before the hour mark. Thank you so much, everybody who's been watching this. Thank you, Foxy, for being our third person. That was very nice. Yes, don't forget, if you ever want to comment, do feel free to send them. We'll read out the appropriate ones or the fun ones, or if we're very, very lonely, any of them. And as ever, thank you for following our social medias. Leo, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you to Foxy too. Do not hesitate, as always, to subscribe on our YouTube channel, to follow us, to talk with us. It's a pleasure to share football with you. So
absolutely. Things to look out for this week. Obviously, the second leg of the Champions League round of 16. Yeah. Very, very exciting. Potentially, every single English team might get knocked out.
Yeah. And put in comments if you have some... how can I say that? For the second leg of the Champions League or Europa League of Conference League, some guess the score of some...
predictions.
Predictions. Sorry, I didn't have the name.
No. Again, to be fair, your English is better than mine. So, yes, thank you again, everybody. Yet another edition of the European Soccer Show comes to a close, but we'll see you next week. And my God, it's getting exciting. Oh, we need a break. See you next week, everybody.
See you next week. Have a nice end of the day.
Bye.
Bye.